Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Michelle and I talk about books, everything books. And today we are talking about this book right here, The Reckoning. I give only 5-star book reviews. I should say I only do videos on books that I give 5 stars to because I hate negative reviews. Comment below. I get lots of criticism for it. It's okay. I hate negative book reviews, even though they're funny sometimes, but I only like to do positive ones. And I do books that are like above and beyond. Like I want you guys to know what I loved, right? So if I'm doing a book review on it, it's because I loved it. And I have to tell you why. So that's what we're doing today. We are talking about The Reckoning and why I loved this book so much. And I'm going to try to do it in under 5 minutes, and I've already wasted a minute. Okay, so why should you read this book? Because I've read a lot of John Grisham books. As a matter of fact, he has written 32 novels. I've probably read like 75% of them. And I have to say, like, there was this time period where I was like, oh, it's formulaic. I know what's going to happen. I'm tired of John Grisham. And I felt like I outgrew him. You know what I mean? Like, you feel like you outgrow an author. And I felt like I outgrew him. So I stopped reading his books. And then all of a sudden, I saw this book and it went right to number one, which most of his books do. But I read a little bit about it and I saw that it was historical fiction. Now, Amazon does not have this book listed as historical fiction. They have it under mystery, thriller, suspense, murder, but they don't have historical fiction. But this book should be on that list. It should be classified as historical fiction because it talks about World War II and the main character, okay, Pete, we'll call him Peter. I'm trying to think of his last name. Pete Banning, right? Yes, Pete Banning, okay? He was in World War II, and what I loved about it was that he was in the Philippines, and he was involved in the Bataan Death March, and I haven't read much historical fiction about that. So right away, I was like, yes, I want to read this. I love historical fiction. I love World War II historical fiction, and I love a story that I haven't read yet, and I hadn't. So I was like, okay, John. That's what I call John Grisham. John. We're just on a first name basis. I am going to read this book, okay? So I started it and sucked in, and I forgot why I didn't like his books. This book, if you're like, oh no, I've read so many John Grisham, I know what they are, they're so the same. Don't think that with this book, okay? This is so different for him, and he did so much research, and I appreciated all the research he did. I loved it so much. I love the war scenes. The first half of the book, this is not a spoiler, not that he comes right home, but he gets home from the war, and he kills the minister, the pastor of this small community, his community, okay? Nobody knows why. He won't say why. And so then the book goes from there. Like, why did Pete Banning kill the minister? And so that's the question of the whole entire book. But the second third of the book goes back to the war and what he went through in the war. So good, so interesting. Yes, there's a lot of detail. I saw the criticism on Amazon. People are like, too much detail, too much detail. Okay, whatever. I thought the detail was amazing, okay? I thought he did it so good. And then the last third is after when he comes home and when he kills the minister, what happens. And the courtroom scene's amazing, of course, but we know John Grisham can write a courtroom scene, right? We're not shocked by this. So I'm going to give you some John Grisham facts, okay? Because I looked some facts up because I was like, you know what? Let's read about him because there's only so much I can say. Oh, before I go, I'm going to give you my favorite line of the book, and you'll see it up on your screen. After a tragedy, those with even the slightest connections to it often exaggerate their involvement and importance. Isn't that so true? When I read that line, I was like, We all do it. We hear about a tragedy and we're like, I knew someone who knew someone who knew somebody who was there. And then you're like, I'm connected right there. I'm connected to that tragedy because I am 6 people removed from it. We just do that. Isn't that weird? So when I read that line, I just had to write it down because I thought that was so good. But anyway, back to John Grisham facts. First of all, he's 63 years old, written 32 novels, 11 of which have been made into movies. Supposedly there are more coming. This one, it's going to be a movie. Let's just put it out there. This has been number 1 on the New York Times. It's been on the list for 9 weeks. It's been number 1 for most of those. It actually fell to 2 and then went back up to 1. So this is going to be a movie. Just wait. His first book, A Time to Kill, was rejected 28 times. I did not know that. I mean, we all know he was a lawyer, but he wrote that while he was practicing law, and it was rejected 28 times. So if you think you can't do something, if one rejection gets you down, people who make it, they don't make it on the first try most of the time, okay? So I have so much respect for him for that. And then the day after he finished A Time to Kill, he wrote The Firm. He started The Firm the day after. And I always tell people that, because I'm reading that David Goggins book, and it's get up, do work. Get up, do it. What do you love to do? He knew he wanted to be a writer. So what did he do? Get up, write. Get up, write. A lot of the times before he quit his lawyer gig, he was writing at 5 o'clock in the morning. That's how bad he wanted to do this, okay? And he is worth over $200 million now. 63 years old. I mean, and all those novels and all those movies, and I don't know. I don't know, John. This book, to me, knocked it out of the park. It's just, you know what? I'm gonna say it's my favorite. How about that? It is my favorite one. And I've read a lot of them. I'm not going to say every because I know that I missed some, but I've read a lot of his books, and this is my favorite one. So that's why you need to go get this. You love historical fiction, love historical fiction. I'm going to start talking slower. My problem is I get so excited and I start rambling. Murder, thriller, suspense. This is a lot about about Pete Banning's kids, what they go through. I mean, it's a family saga. It is intense. It spans years. You are going to love it. So, it is December 30th. You have some vacation time left, right? It's Sunday. Go to Barnes & Noble or hit the button, Kindle, download it. You've got 2 or 3 more days of vacation. Read this book. You will be happy you did. So I will put the link below. Thank you for watching, everyone. If you had fun with this video, please hit like. Have a wonderful Sunday.